this time. I feel my luck could change.
Hi, I'm Tommy, and today we're going to have a chance to sit down with Dr. Stephanie Carey, one of the lead researchers here at the USF Mechanical Engineering Department. Now, Dr. Carey specializes in developing, designing, and improving prosthetic limbs of today. She works directly with the patients, analyzing how they might better be suited to receive prosthetic limbs. Today I'm going to have a chance to sit down with her and ask her a few questions so that we can gain insight into this unique field of research. Join us as we find out more. Hello, Dr. Carey. I was wondering first if you could tell us your educational background.
Sure, I started at the University of Florida, where I got my Bachelor's of Science degree in Engineering Science. And then I went to the University of Miami to work as a researcher, and while I was there, I got my Master's in Biomedical Engineering. I then worked for industry for a while and came to University of South Florida to get my PhD in Biomedical Engineering.
What motivated you to work specifically with prosthetics research?
So I didn't start into prosthetic research until I came to the University of South Florida. I was just starting my PhD here, and there was a demonstration project between the university, from the School of Physical Therapy and from the Department of Mechanical Engineering to look at prosthetic devices and to educate people about prosthetics. And so that gave me the opportunity to start a new field and look at prosthetics.
A prosthetic is a man-made device designed to replace your amputated limb. It is custom fit to each individual, taking several factors into consideration, such as your health, lifestyle, age, and weight. Newer technologies are making prosthetics more functional than ever before through the use of microprocessors and lighter materials.
So, you've been researching prosthetics for a long time. Could you tell us that in the study and improvement of prosthetics, is it a steady moving field, or is it?
So yeah, prosthetic devices have advanced with microprocessors and controlling and better computing and smaller electronic technology. But a lot of times what happens is you can make the connection between the prosthetic device and the user. So that's where we really need to catch up on making sure that the prosthetic device is appropriate for the user, make sure that they're trained to use the device appropriately. And so that's what some of our research here at University of South Florida looks like.
In what ways do prostheses better the lives of their users, aside from being more aesthetically pleasing? Are they noticeably functional?
So the lower limb actually has better function, mostly because gait or walking is the main component, so they're able to create prosthetic devices that allow for smooth gait. The upper limb, which we also do research on, has a little bit more difficulty with function because the arm has a lot of degrees of freedom, and your arm and hand do a lot of tasks. It's a lot more difficult to get function out of it. There's also difficulties between the residual limb and the socket. Sometimes they're uncomfortable, and so those are some other issues that we're looking at in our research.
What do patients have to adjust to most when receiving them?
So there's a lot of issues that users have to adjust to. Definitely skin issues. So there's skin problems between the prosthetic device and the residual limb. There's also, a fear factor. So now all of a sudden you're taking a step on a prosthetic device and relying only on a device. So that can be an issue as well. And also, as you go through your day, your body changes. So you may sweat if you've eaten a lot or a little. Your weight and volume of your residual limb can fluctuate. So that's another thing that's difficult for a user to get used to.
Prosthetics are available for almost every body part and for just about every condition. Here, a prosthetic recipient is learning to use their new limb on the golf course. People with bad hips and knees can have them replaced with a prosthetic alternative and enable them to be active again.
So this is a motion analysis laboratory. It's part of the Center of Assistive and Rehabilitation Robotics Technology. So here we have a system of cameras from Vicon, and they have infrared lights around them, and they are able to detect they're able to pick up these reflective markers. So what we do is we put reflective markers on various body parts, and then we can track the motions of people. It's the same type of technology that's used for animated movies, as well as video games. But we use it to get information about joint angles and joint forces and torques. So we also have under here some AMTI force plates that give us information about ground reaction force. But our lab is pretty versatile, so right now we have it set up for some lower limb activities. We can have subjects walk up and down stairs, walk on gravel, but we can also rearrange to have them walk up ramps, as well as bring in other things like this door over here that allow us to collect information about activities of daily living. We also have a safety harness because most of our subjects come in have some kind of amputation, so we want to make sure that everybody's safe in the lab. And we also look at sports, so we have various sporting equipment over there. We have golf clubs as well as baseball bats. So that's our motion analysis.
About 1 out of every 200 people has gone through some kind of amputation.
Do you ever encounter any ethical issues within your research?
Ethical issues. That's a good question. So sometimes research can be supported by industry. So for instance, we got a grant from OSER which makes a certain type of prosthetic knee. We've also had grants with the School of Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation Sciences from Autobot, which is another company that makes prosthetic devices. So as a researcher, you have to make sure that you stay objective and you present the data as it is and not as somebody would want it to be. So you have to make sure that whoever's funding the study realizes that you're going to present the data as you find it, and not necessarily what they would like to see out of the data.
Well, we read that you analyze everyday movements in the motion analysis laboratory here to assist you in developing better prosthetics. What sort of movements do you analyze, how, and what do you learn from this, and how do you integrate it into your work?
So, depending on what type, if we're looking at upper limb or lower limb prosthetics, we change our motion. So for lower limb, obviously gait is a big thing. They want to be able to walk using their prosthetic device. But what we try to do here in the lab is also make sure that they're doing other things like walking up ramps, walking upstairs, walking on gravel. And so we test them looking at things that would occur on their daily life. For the upper limb, we try to vary the tasks between unilateral task and bilateral tasks. So we have a lot of lifting tasks with both hands, we have a door opening, we have driving a steering wheel, brushing your hair, eating, so things that you would come across in your daily life.
You guys begin testing out the
I read in an article from 2007 that you were studying how to fit amputees with robotic prosthetic limbs that are controlled by the user's muscles. The article stated that a future implication of this study may involve neural control of robotic limbs. How is this idea advanced?
So neural control is something that they're looking at. So they're trying to look at brain-computer interfaces is kind of the general term for taking brain signals and using that information to control a prosthetic device. Currently, the prosthetic devices either are body-powered, which they're controlled by a harness and the movement of your shoulder, or myoelectrically controlled, where they're controlled by flexion and extensions of your remaining muscles of your residual limb. Some universities are looking at neural control. There have been some studies looking at electrodes implanted in monkeys to control a robotic arm. Here we don't do so much as neural control, so we have prosthetic and we test prosthetic devices, but then we also have a wheelchair-mounted robotic arm. So we learn a lot about controlling robots using the wheelchair-mounted robotic arm, and then we learn a lot about prosthetics, testing various prosthetic devices. So eventually there's the idea that we can combine our research and robot control and prosthetic devices.
So with that in mind, where do you see the future of prosthetics headed?
I think a lot of the technology has advanced, but making sure that people are trained properly. And the other thing that we're interested in looking at is also at the other end of the spectrum. So looking at simpler, affordable devices that can be distributed to countries like Haiti that have earthquakes and that thousands of people have amputations due to it.
So, with all these things about helping patients and really enjoying the experience between them, do you say that's the that's the best way you make contributions to your field, like improving the lives of amputees, or what would you say is the best contribution you've made?
Yeah, of course, improving the lives of amputees, but also getting more students excited about whether it's prosthetics or whatever field, to get them excited about science and engineering and technology.
Prosthetics help people regain control over their lives. They can walk around without assistance, swing a golf club, or even paddle a kayak. People with a prosthetic can maintain a more comfortable lifestyle. Having prosthetics can also help people avoid the psychological effects of living without a limb.
As a researcher, what role do you think research plays within a university?
Again, it's kind of a similar answer, but I think when engineering students see their work in real world applications, I think it helps. A lot of times they're doing equations and looking at textbooks, but when they see what some of their programming does in the real world, I think it's very rewarding for the student, and it helps universities.
So we've been discussing how research fits into the global, or let's just say the campus environment. Have you had a chance to interact with other researchers from other schools or other countries that are pursuing the same goals?
Yeah, so the great thing about USF and Tampa here is we have great resources. We work with the Tampa VA, so the Veterans Hospital. We work with researchers there at the Center of Excellence. They have a regional amputee center. So they see amputees all over the southeast. So we work a lot with those researchers. And of course, always when you go and report on your data at conferences, you get the chance to discuss information with other researchers at other universities.
So would you say that's a big part about research, integrating just all the knowledge from everywhere and coming together for a common goal?
Yeah, that's definitely important. Disseminating your results for research is definitely key. And now more people are interested in collaborations, whether it's among departments or within your university or among different universities. They realize that it's better to share the information and use that information to eventually help people.
In closing, what words of advice can you offer for those who are interested in getting involved in research?
The first thing is you should start early. I said the first time I was 19, I was still an undergraduate working every summer in research, and that's how I got interested. I encourage students to do research experience undergraduate, which allows undergraduate students to start in the lab and see research firsthand.
Researchers such as Dr. Carey have greatly expedited the advancement of prosthetic technology, giving new hope to patients who would have otherwise lived their entire lives without the use of a limb. She is helping these people regain the comfort, functionality, and mobility that they once had. Thanks to Dr. Carey, a brighter future is in store for prosthetic candidates around the world.
Hi, I'm Tommy. Hi, I'm Tommy. Hi, I'm Tommy. Hi, I'm Tommy. Bill? Okay, Bill, well, why don't you talk a little bit about yourself to the camera?